I'm often referred to as a criminal without a criminal record, which is quite funny. I woke up the morning after my wife died and there was a thing saying murderer.
Calling you a murderer?
Yeah.
A little dip she was having, he came along. And I think that's where her judgment was muddled and she became prey.
Simon said that he was the largest collector of Vermeer, dated Elle Macpherson and Madonna. He said that he had been dying from terminal brain cancer and that he had bought an experimental treatment derived from the fins of sharks. Every single word out of his mouth was a lie.
Breaking news, rumors have it that the feds have found evidence that Brittany Murphy's husband, Simon Monjack, allegedly hid some shocking proof about Britney's death. And get this, allegedly, Simon got deleted when he apparently tried to use said proof to blackmail Diddy, and the alleged proof just disappeared into thin air. But now the feds are rumored to be considering reopening Britney's case. Could it be that the feds have finally found the missing evidence that links Diddy and Ashton to Britney's death? Guys, you better grab your seats because this story is gonna shock you.
I'm a happy type person. I smile a lot.
Brittany, please come back.
She's a Scorpio. What else do you need to know?
I'm a double Scorpio.
Double Scorpio.
She evidently collapsed in the bathroom.
Now, it's been over a decade since we lost Brittany Murphy, and weirdly enough, her husband, Simon Monjack, died just months later in the exact same house under eerily similar circumstances. Like, what are the chances? Now, after a whirlwind romance, Brittany tied the knot with British screenwriter and alleged conman Simon Monjack in a hush-hush ceremony at their Hollywood Hills home in 2007. They'd technically known each other for years, but friends were shocked when their friendship suddenly turned romantic and then full-blown marriage in a shocking amount of time. But here's where it gets messy. Monjack had a laundry list of red flags from shady financial dealings to sketchy ex-relationships. You see, before his whirlwind romance with Brittany Murphy, Simon had already left behind a trail of chaos, heartbreak, and straight-up deception. His own mother, Linda, once admitted that Simon had a habit of falling in and out of love way too fast, but some of his exes say it was way darker than that. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Simon had a history of lying to women, especially about his wealth, spinning wild tales of riches and luxury that were far from reality. But it didn't stop there. He apparently faked entire parts of his life. Let's take Elizabeth Ragsdale, for example. She met Monjack in Paris, fell hard, and got engaged. That's when he allegedly dropped a bombshell. He had spinal cancer and needed urgent treatment that would make him sterile. So if they wanted kids, they had to act now. Spoiler alert, she got pregnant. Then things turned creepy fast. She says he isolated her from her family and friends and convinced her to fly to New York to have the baby. But when she landed, poof, he ghosted. Never heard from him again. Later, Simon's own mom told Elizabeth that he had never even been sick, and it gets messier. In the early 2000s, Simon married British TV personality Simone Bien in a quickie Las Vegas wedding in 2001. That union didn't last long either. They split by 2006, and Simone reportedly had to sue him for thousands he allegedly owed her in their divorce. So yeah, by the time Simon got involved with Britney, he already had a long track record of drama, deceit, and emotional wreckage. Makes you wonder how much Britney really knew before walking down the aisle. Now, despite being confronted multiple times with undeniable proof of Simon's shady past, Britney stood by him with the kind of fierce devotion that had her friends seriously worried. She wasn't just in love, she was all in. Even when Factory Girl director George Hickenlooper exposed Simon for falsely claiming he produced the film, he actually only got credit through a legal settlement. Britney personally called him in the middle of the night, practically begging him to take down his brutal IMDb post about Simon's frivolous lawsuit. Jorger later revealed, she said, "If you ruin my husband, you are going to ruin me." He recalled just wanting to shake her awake, saying, "You've got to clear your head on this, honey." It was painfully clear. Reportedly, Britney was so fragile at the time, and anyone who gave her affection, no matter how toxic, could instantly win her over. Guys, Britney believed Simon was her rock, the one who'd bring financial stability, help restart her then dwindling Hollywood career, and fulfill her dream of becoming a mom. And in the beginning, there was this almost romantic, artistic bubble. Simon would take endless photos of her and play piano late into the night while she listened dreamily under the baby grand. It was picture perfect on the outside. What Britney didn't know or chose not to see was the mountain of wreckage Simon brought into her life. Get this, Simon was nearly broke when they met. He was locked in a legal battle with producer Susan Stewart Potter. After allegedly trying to cut her out of a film she hired him to direct, he eventually had to pay her over $300,000. Oh, and when he moved into Britney's house, he conveniently forgot to mention that he'd left his last fiancée high and dry, stuck with unpaid rent on a Los Angeles apartment and a trail of bad checks. And get this, shortly after their wedding, Britney herself had to cough up $10,000 to settle a lawsuit from a casting director Simon had stiffed with a bounce check. But in the end, Britney wasn't just in love, she was entangled in a fantasy spun by a man whose past was packed with lies, lawsuits, and financial wreckage. And sadly, it was a fantasy that came at an unthinkable price. On December 2009, when Britney suddenly passed away at just 32, and just as the world was reeling from that shock, bam, Simon was found dead in May 2010. The same house, same room, under bizarrely similar conditions. Coincident? I think not. And if rumors are to be believed, the feds don't think that their deaths were a coincidence either. And get this, allegedly Simon Monjack might have had a part to play in Britney's passing away. You see, on the morning Britney passed away, the LA Fire Department got a call for a medical request at Britney and Simon's house. According to reports, Simon tried to resuscitate her before paramedics arrived and rushed her to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, but it was already too late. Britney went into full cardiac arrest and was pronounced dead around 10 a.m. Now, here's where things get seriously sketchy. Simon, Britney's ever-controversial husband, did not want an autopsy performed. Let that sink in. He actually tried to block it, which immediately raised eyebrows, but thankfully, he didn't have the legal power to stop it. The Los Angeles County Coroner's Office proceeded with the autopsy the next day. A couple of months later, the official report dropped, and it left people with more questions than answers. The coroner listed her cause of death as pneumonia with anemia and multiple intoxication as contributing factors, and yet the manner of death was ruled accidental. But here's the shady part. Initially, they refused to say what kind of substances were involved. Total mystery.
The official cause of Brittany Murphy's death is pneumonia, complicated with anemia and multiple drug intoxication. It is ruled an accidental death. But some family and friends aren't buying the official report.
The fact that Brittany Murphy died so young and died with people in the house who were supposed to be looking out for her, it really got people wondering, how could this have happened? And people just were never satisfied with any of the answers that came out officially.
Meanwhile, Simon went on the defensive, telling People magazine that Britney had only been taking herbal remedies and nothing that could endanger her. He even claimed the only prescription meds in the house were for her period and a bit of cough syrup. Britney's mom, Sharon, backed that up, swearing her daughter didn't drink, didn't touch illegal substances, and probably had some undiagnosed heart issue. But with all the contradictions, the secrecy, and Simon's bizarre behavior in the days leading up to and after her death, many people started wondering, was there more going on behind closed doors than anyone was willing to admit? And it seems the feds seem to also think the same. Now, according to reports, Britney had been feeling sick for weeks before she died, and she actually told people she felt like she was being poisoned. Yup, poisoned. Even her mom, Sharon, later admitted that Britney had become paranoid and believed someone might be out to harm her. And here's the twist that will send shivers down your spine. Britney had installed CCTV cameras all around her Hollywood Hills home, plus a fingerprint recognition locking system, the kind of stuff you see in spy movies. She was clearly scared. The Daily Mail even got a hold of photos from that home security setup. Why would someone take such extreme security measures unless they truly feared for their life? But it gets even weirder. After Britney died, reports surfaced that the house had serious mold issues, and that maybe, just maybe, that toxic mold had played a role in her death. Both Simon and Sharon actually backed this theory, claiming mold might have been the silent killer. Sounds plausible, right? But then bam, when investigators wanted to test for mold, guess what Simon and Sharon did? They refused. Wait, what? If you truly believed mold killed your daughter, why would you block testing? It made zero sense. Then came the expert opinion. Pathologist Dr. Richard Shepard straight up shut down the mold theory. He said there was no trace of fungi in Britney's lungs or blood, and the autopsy showed no sign of mold exposure whatsoever. So that excuse, dead on arrival. Now remember how Britney thought she was being poisoned? That wasn't just paranoia out of nowhere. Friends said she started acting differently in her final months. She was scared, avoiding certain foods, not drinking things unless they were sealed, and she even told people she believed powerful Hollywood figures were watching her and trying to bring her down. She was spiraling, and no one close to her could calm those fears. And then there's Simon. Oh, Simon. The man was dripping in controversy. He was way older than Britney and had met her when she was just 17 years old. Over the years, he built up a sleazy reputation with fraud allegations, sketchy financial dealings, and exes who accused him of manipulation and deceit. Britney's friends didn't trust him one bit. They thought he was controlling, isolating her, and taking full advantage of her vulnerability. But hold up, it gets even creepier. Just 5 months after Britney's death, Simon died too. And not just that, he died in the exact same way. Pneumonia and severe anemia. Same symptoms, same house, same nightmare ending.
I've never seen a case where a young wife dies and 5 months later, a youngish husband dies, basically from the same underlying factors.
Not only the same underlying factors, but even the couple's final hours alive are eerily similar.
So now the million-dollar question is, was this all just a series of tragic coincidences? Or is there a much darker truth that's still buried beneath the glitz of Hollywood and the walls of that cursed house? Because honey, something definitely doesn't add up. So now people are wondering what the feds will find when they decide to reopen her case. Anyways, let me know your opinions in the comments, and don't forget to check out our other videos to ensure you are all up to date with all the latest tea. Till next time, bye.